We have only just returned from the 36th Diocesan Convention, annual convention of the Episcopal Diocese of Western Louisiana down in Lake Charles. It was a great convention, and it really was. And we were so glad to get the rain, of course, yesterday, but it was no fun driving in it, let me tell you. But the good news is the Terrells aren't here, but boy, Will Terrell sold me a great car because it felt really stable with all that rain coming back from Lake Charles. But that convention marks my 30th diocesan convention as a priest here in Louisiana and in Texas. I missed only 2 over the years. Once I was sick, and a couple of years ago I had a funeral and was not able to attend. But you know, they've changed a bit, quite a bit over the years, church conventions. My first one was in Houston in 1983. Houston is situated in the Episcopal Diocese of Texas, which is one of the largest dioceses in the country. It includes Houston and all its inverns, Austin and all its inverns, Beaumont, Waco, Victoria, Corsicana, all of eastern central Texas, basically, south of Dallas. And it's just huge. And the problem they have over there is finding a venue big enough to accommodate all the priests and laity that they have, 1,000 of them probably, all told. In fact, my first convention, we didn't have a church in Houston big enough, was held, believe it or not, in an enormous Jewish synagogue on Bel Air Boulevard in Houston, Texas. I guess that makes some sense, doesn't it? But here in Louisiana, ours are not nearly so large. We're far more easy to accommodate. I said that they've changed over the years. Boy, have they. 30 years ago, y'all, not many women in those conventions. I looked around yesterday. It was just about 50-50. Oh, yes, it was. Maybe even a few more women than men. It may have even been. But boy, what a change. And then there is the matter of attire. Some of you who've been to conventions over the years may be able to understand this. I walked in Friday morning wearing my gray suit, right, and shiny black leather shoes, and I was way overdressed. But you know, back then, nothing but business suits. I'm not making that up. We looked like a sea of navy blue and dove gray. The only difference was some of us wore round collars and some of us wore ties. Nobody, and I'm not making this up, nobody would have even dared to wear a sport coat in those days. Today, well, you know, right, jeans, khakis, golf shirts, shorts, saw some shorts, sandals, even a t-shirt here and there. It's been quite a change, but you know, I got to thinking about it, and given the people that Jesus ministered to, kind of makes sense. I mean, there weren't many people in business hanging out with Jesus, right? But perhaps the biggest change in my experience of conventions over the years is the tone of them. I wish Father Guido were here. He would agree, I think. We've often noted that pretty much for the totality of our priesthood, the church has been at war with itself. Women's ordination, prayer book revision, gay ordination and consecration, gay marriage, social justice. For most of the last 30 years, we have essentially torn ourselves apart over these issues, gone to war with one another, criticized and vilified one another, and all, get this, for the sake of the gospel, or so we supposed. Y'all, I got to tell you the truth. There were years when I feared a fist fight would break out on the convention floor. I'm not making that up. And many years when people could be seen walking or running away from the convention floor in tears. So traumatic, so personal, and so hurtful was the debate. Thankfully, those days are pretty much gone. And oh, by the way, on both sides, tears. Both sides. Thankfully, those days are pretty much gone. And these days, our conventions are not nearly so contentious. Indeed, I would go so far as to call them harmonious by and large. Certainly this one that we just left was. Some folks have died. Some folks have left. And some folks have gotten over themselves. It just is what it is. But those who remain, it seems to me, regardless of where they stand on various issues, are far more invested in and focused upon upon the gospel of Jesus Christ, get this, which has mainly to do with setting people free and loving one another and being transformed. In short, the gospel is all about salvation. Of course it is. It's really the only thing it's about, if you think about it. Our reading from Jeremiah for this morning is one of 4 hymns in Jeremiah about the return from exile of the Babylonian captives. As some of you may know, for most of the 6th century BC, the best and brightest of Jerusalem had been imprisoned in Babylon, wrenched from their homes and taken into captivity. But now they were going home. Now they were being set free. Listen to what Jeremiah says. He says, "See, I'm going to bring them from the land of the north and gather them from the farthest parts of the earth. Among them," get this, "the blind, the lame, those with child, those in labor. Together a great company, they shall return here. With weeping they shall come, and with consolations I shall lead them back." This is, of course, one of 2, listen, one of 2 defining stories in the Old Testament. The other, of course, is the Exodus, the story of Moses bringing God's people out of bondage in Egypt through the wilderness and to the promised land. Together, these 2 stories set the stage, you see, set the tone for the whole Bible, for Judaism and for Christianity as well. It's all about being set free. It's all about being made new. It's all about going home. It's all about being transformed. It's all about the salvation of God's people. You know, that's an interesting word, salvation. At its root is the English word salve, S-A-L-V-E, a word that we sometimes use for a healing ointment or a healing balm. And as such, what salvation is mainly about is healing. It's about healing the body, but it's also about healing the soul as well. In this morning's gospel, we have the timeless story of blind Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus. Years ago, when I was a Jesus freak, we used to sing a song about him. I remember those days. Now, even by New Testament standards, this was a guy at the very bottom of the heap. A blind beggar, a guy that most of us, I suspect, would go out of our way to avoid. But the thing is, Bartimaeus had a great gift that most of us lack. Bartimaeus had a great advantage. You know what it was? He knew precisely what his problem was. He was blind. He couldn't see, and he knew it. And so when he heard it was Jesus who was coming, he started to holler, "Son of David, have mercy. Son of David, have mercy." He did not hesitate. And notice that the very first thing Jesus said to him was, "What do you want me to do for you?" Now, I feel quite certain that Jesus knew the man was blind. I mean, it would have been apparent. Nonetheless, Jesus required that the man name the problem, suggesting, I believe, that true healing requires some amount of self-awareness on our parts. Indeed, I think that there is a great truth there. I think we have to know ourselves to get saved. And then once Bartimaeus receives his sight, Jesus says the most remarkable thing we've heard so often, we think it's a throwaway line. Listen to this. He says, "Go, your faith has made you well." I'm going to say it again. Go, your faith has made you well. That's what Jesus said. In effect, it wasn't me. It was the power and presence of God in you all along. I just brokered the deal. You see, I just brokered the deal. The power is already there. You've already got God in your heart. Now, just generally speaking, I have no problem with the miracles of Jesus, and I know some do. I just always figured that he was so filled with God that it just wasn't a big deal. His presence, just like in this story, seemed to light the spark of God, you see, in other people. At the same time, it is clear to me that the miracles of Jesus also act as metaphors for just generally that which ails humanity. Our blindness, by which we are unable not only not to see God all around us, but also We're unable to see the suffering that exists upon this earth. Our deafness, by which we are not only unable to hear the voice of God, but also to hear the voices of the poor and disenfranchised, the lost and the lonely, the various emotional, psychic demons that I suspect plague all of us in our lives. The truth is, we all need to be healed. We all need to be saved. Of course we do. Here's the good news. Here's another word study for you. The name Jesus, which is rendered Joshua or Yeshua in Hebrew, means salvation. Literally rendered, the name Jesus means God is salvation. Did you know that? Some of you didn't, did you? Jesus came to save us. He came to heal us. And that's really the only reason why he came. Now, if you are not getting healed, perhaps we ought to take a tip from Bartimaeus, who knew what was wrong and then hollered like crazy.